Over the past 8 days or so, I have had an incredibly eye-opening experience. I have sat down and I've spent 3 hours a day interviewing people, amazing people from all over the world actually, who have gone through major life transformations or reinventions, whatever you want to call it. People who have changed careers, who quit a job to start a business, who faced major health adversities only to come out on the other end stronger and more healthy and more vibrant than before. And I'm going to continue doing this all for the purposes of a book that I'm writing to understand what really drives people and what's the mindset behind people who have the strength to endure and to actually follow through on their passions and on their heart's desires and the things they really want to do in life. And I had an unbelievable discussion yesterday with a lady who, long story short, 20 years ago, or 20 plus actually, she was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, and at the time there was not a lot of information about this diagnosis. So she had very little information. They knew that it was a very serious disease to have. And she said an interesting thing. She said that not only did she get the news that she had this condition, but the way the doctor delivered the news to her was almost like a life sentence. The tone and just the way he delivered the message made her feel like it was just time to pack it in and give up, and you know, you're in trouble now. And what I found the most fascinating about this was her reaction. Now, a lot of people, as you can imagine, I've been sitting there listening to her story thinking, that would be very difficult news to get. I don't know how I'd react. And what this woman did was, instead of becoming depressed or scared or down, she immediately got angry. That was her visceral first response. She got angry and said, who are you to tell me how I should perceive this illness, how I should perceive this challenge that I'm facing in my life right now? And she immediately got to work to understand exactly what it meant, exactly what she was up against. And again, at the time, there wasn't a lot of information, so she had to really do a lot of work here. And 20 years later, she's not on any of the medications. She's doing very, very well. She still has MS, and she still has to deal with some of the challenges of it. But you would look at her, and she describes this herself, you would look at her and never know there was a problem. And now I don't want to get into the particulars of MS because I don't know anybody that's gone through it, and I can imagine not everybody would share her story. But what I do want to focus on is the way she chose to respond to that negative input, the way she chose to respond to someone else's interpretation of her situation. And what's very, very important about this lesson is that nobody else's interpretation matters. The only one that mattered was hers, and it's so powerful. The way she responded with anger and with a sense of certainty to me was the biggest eye-opening piece to this, because from that moment, every action she took, every thought process she had was one that empowered her, that gave her strength to find a solution, to try something new, to read a book about a different way of eating. And she's carved out a lifestyle for herself. She has certain eating patterns, she has certain foods, certain exercise routines, and all these different things she does to enhance her life. And she's making it work. She's figured out a solution to her problems. And it's a case that people look at her and go, how are you doing this? They're trying to study her and understand it better. And the lesson for all of us is that we may not even face anything close to that level of a challenge in our lives, but we are going to face, inevitably, we're going to face negative input. And most often it comes in the form of, for people like you that are watching this blog, likely because you're the achiever type, the negative input you're going to receive, and you probably already have received, I've received it, is people telling you what you can't do. People telling you what's realistic for your life, or that your ideas are bad, and they try to literally plant a seed of doubt, a negative seed in your mind to derail you and get you to stop what you're doing. And the point of this story, and the point of her story more importantly, is that you always have the choice. At the gatekeeper of your mind is this reasoning factor that you can actually accept or reject ideas that come in, and you can choose whether or not you want to believe them. You can choose whether or not you want to actually feel that message in your body. If you were to feel somebody telling you how negative a situation was and how impossible it was to get over this hurdle, and you embodied that and you became depressed, what are the odds that you're actually going to be able to overcome this obstacle? As you know what the answer is going to be. But if you choose differently, if you choose to reject that idea, or to at least examine the source of the information and say, is this person in line with what I believe? Are their results in their life something that I'd like to mirror? If it's not, then I'm going to do my best to actually not accept what they're saying. I'm just going to accept the reality that there's a lot of negativity in the world. If I turn on the news or or just go to the water cooler discussions at most companies, they're negative, they're complaining. What if I just focus on the opposite? What if I go and find people that have actually overcome major hurdles or have actually achieved something like the thing that I'm working on right now that at the moment seems impossible, or that this negative person is telling me is a bad idea? Let's go find somebody that's actually done what I want to do or bigger and see what they have to say about it. I can almost guarantee you that person is not going to plant negative seeds, not going to plant negative ideas. They're going to encourage you. They're going to give you examples. They're going to tell you stories from their life that make you believe that it's possible. And it's our job to focus this part of our brain, the reasoning factor, to go and find those messages that will encourage us to move forward. And when those inevitable negative messages come in, we deal with them appropriately. We filter them out. We choose not to get involved with them, and we choose to search for the ones that are going to give us power. That's my message for today. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know how you can apply this to your life right now.